I have already posted this but decided to write it again because my last post didn't really explain a lot. As a kid my friends and I would smoke weed. We first tried it at 10 and liked it and smoked it every 4 months maybe, but didn't really become stoners till 14. One day my friends and I found out a way to get mushrooms and we tripped on .5 and it was amazing. We took a couple microdoses in the next few days and loved it. I then decided to take 3.5. Which was a big step up, and I had only taken around 1.5 to 1.9 grams previous to this trip. I was bored one day and found out that I could order cheap mushrooms online and got excited. I looked for the cheapest mushrooms and ordered it hoping they would NTID me. When it got to my house my brother grabbed it and we went to trip. We were going to take 7 grams. I really don't know why I wanted to consume that much, but it was too gross to eat anyways. I only ate 3.5 and was hyped to have a good time. I went into the garage and took a bong rip, which I'm pretty sure is what intensified the horrible cum up. We went on a walk and on the way home it hit me, a weird intense body high that I immediately didn't like. Next the visuals kicked in. All I could think of was how long I would be here for, but surprisingly time was going by fast, but that would all come to a stop. I walked everywhere in the house panicking knowing I fucked up and did weird things to stay grounded. I smashed a glass cup, I chugged citrusy drinks and ate oranges, to calm down but nothing worked. After about what felt like 30 minutes since consuming was actually 1 hour and 45 minutes since consuming, I called my mum and told her the situation and made sure she would get mad, but she had a history with drugs and so she knew getting mad would only make things worse for me, so she pretended she was not mad at all and not worried. She just laughed and said, "You're going to be fine, there's going to be a peak, that's all you gotta make it through," and said you're already halfway. Which wasn't true. She said she would start making her way home and that calmed me down a tiny bit, but the overwhelming body high shot my fear up by 100%. Anyone who's had a terror trip knows how bad it is. I tried to watch Trailer Park Boys, but I couldn't. It made me feel as if I was getting sucked in the show. I tried listening to music but felt as if I was going into a spiral. Eventually I closed my eyes on my bed and slightly calmed down and was only focused on breathing right, and finally was at peace. Somehow I fell asleep, but was woken up 30 minutes later to my mum asking me if I was fine, which was the worst idea she could have had. I was fine but didn't recognize my world and what was around me. I forgot who I was and didn't know if she was my mum. I didn't even know what a mum was, or what she was saying. She later told me she recognized my behavior right away because my great-uncle took a bunch of mushrooms and acid and he went into psychosis for his entire life, and she said I was acting like him. I had no grip on reality, and for what felt like a lifetime I kept getting stuck in time loops where I would ask my mum something and she would respond and I would say it again and she would respond, and that repeated for what felt like hours. I then stood up and started singing, saying, "When you think you've almost got it and it's gotta come right back down," and in my personal view my mind was tricking me into almost breaking through this trip, just to get sucked back into it. The paramedics and my mum were the worst people to be around while tripping. If I said something they would respond with the same answer, making me think I was doomed to live the same loop for all of eternity. Eventually the trip ended, but not my psychosis. I was still tripping in my mind until they called new paramedics, and one of them took shrooms before and knew the effects. He sat me down and asked my favorite show, and my brother said Trailer Park Boys. My brother had a good trip but didn't help. After 2 minutes a TPB animated, I was back to reality, watching the greatest creation of life. The first words I heard clearly were, "I actually met Bubbles and went into his shed," from the paramedic. I was back to normal. Ever since that experience I have been having mood swings of intense levels. Sometimes I will be extremely happy and feeling lucky to be me. Other times, I will be sad and worried about the death of me that will be coming in the not-so-soon future. I have slowed down on smoking weed and plan to quit because I feel I have given myself derealization disorder.